Hey, Minute with Alan. This is called Just Desserts. You know, the perpetually clueless are those people who don't understand social cues at all and feel that everything revolves around them. They are the self-centered, imploding kind of people. You've seen them. They walk into a restaurant. There were 15, 20 people already seated and dining. As soon as they sit down, they motion for the server and they say, please, it's much too cold in here. Raise the temperature. And the server sort of fumbles around and goes to get the manager. And the issue is everybody else is comfortable, but no, because they've walked in and they're cold, everything has to be changed. If you run workshops or anything like that with the public, you know this routine. They can't drink a certain kind of tea. You know, the milk has to be warmed. I was on first class on the Amtrak Acela, which is what I take, their high-speed train, anywhere between Boston and Washington. It's a wonderful service. And this particular trip was in August, and the car was cool but comfortable. It was, you know, what do they say? It was like Georgia asphalt in August outside. It was that hot. There are about, I don't know, a dozen of us on the car, and it stops, it only makes one or two stops, and it stops in Connecticut, in Stamford, Connecticut. And a woman gets on with short shorts and strappy heels and a little blouse that is tied at the bottom, so it's bare midriff. She's got a tiny purse and no books, no luggage, nothing. That's her. She sits down, she crosses her legs, and she calls over the first class steward, and she says, it's very cold. Would you adjust the temperature, she says. He says, of course. And so as he walks to the rear of the car, I jump up and follow him, and I say, for God's sakes, it's comfortable out here. Nobody else is complaining. He says, sir, would you come with me? So I did. And we get to the back of the car, and he says, how often do you travel to Acela? And I said, well, once or twice a month. He said, do you like the service? I said, I do very much. He said, do you have any suggestions for improvement? I said, well, no, but you can't just cater to everybody who wants a certain thing if the rest don't need it. He says, please come with me again. We go back to the woman's seat. He says, how is it now? And she said, oh, this is much better. He hadn't touched a thing. I said, you would make a great consultant. He said, no, this is the kind of work for me. And I think he's right.